Make a sound, make a sound, yeah, make a sound, yeah, make a sound. Make a sound, that's what our show is about, making a sound for our forests. I'm Dan Brillman, and this is
Playing guitar, writing songs, and what's that story about? What's that song about? Playing guitar, writing songs, and
music is a universal language, and when combined with video, it's powerful. I write songs for our website, e-awakening.com. I'm going to show you 3 simple chords from my song. It's an F chord, and then you lift one finger off the bottom string, and you have a alternative F chord, and then a B flat. So those 3 chords sound a little like this. Now we have a portion of a music video for you, and I created it in my home studio using several musical tracks. This song is Make a Sound.
if a tree falls in the forest and there is no one there to hear, does this mean that we can't save it? And is this something that we fear? I can see the chipmunks running for cover as the bulldozers do their job, and as more trees fall in the forest, will they make a sound?
When you combine music with video, you're using multiple senses. You're seeing and you're hearing, and that helps us to remember the story. Sometimes the lack of music can be powerful. Natural sounds and the human voice can be powerful too. In our first video, we're going to see a woman who's been fighting for her forest. I call her a guardian.
Some moss, some winterberry growing here.
It's hard to believe that there is a forest here, looking at this map with all the streets and the development. But there is, the Holbrook Town Forest. And although it's small, approximately 140 acres, it contains wildlife, vernal pools, and clean, clear water. It's an area of critical environmental concern. All the ecosystems needed to sustain life are here. But this small forest is under threat of development. 32 acres. Residents started up a Save the 32 group that is fighting to save this forest. Today we are introduced to a founding member of the Save the 32. Her name is Patricia Greeley. She is a leader in the struggle to save this tiny town forest. It's a hard thing to fight because, you know, money versus the environment.
Right. They're not making more land, and there's so much development already in southeastern Massachusetts. And there's so little recreational land available, and land that's quiet and protected, where people can come and relax and unwind and commune with nature. You know, we all know about the studies of how important it is for children, but it's important for adults too, and families, and the animals. This is a real special place. Even though we're in southeastern Massachusetts and we're relatively close to roadways and highways, is a quietness and a calmness here. It feels untouched. It feels like you're really far away, like that feeling you get when you're up in the Adirondacks is sort of what you get here.
We just saw one of our guardians and some of the natural wonders at the Holbrook Town Forest. Patricia Greeley is here with us today, and she's one of the founders of Save the 32. Hello, Patricia.
Hi, Dan.
It's great to have you here tonight.
Good to be here.
I saw these signs that said Save the 32, and I was really curious about it. Can you tell me about Save the 32?
Yes, Save the 32 was a group that, a grassroots group that sprang up from our Holbrook Town Forest Friends group we had in response to some threats that were coming on a very special parcel of land that we call the 32 because it's 32 acres. It's basically in the heart of a large green strip that runs from Braintree through Holbrook and Weymouth down to Abington, and it's adjoining our Holbrook Town Forest, but we've used it for 50 or 60 years as part of the forest. It's a contiguous parcel, so there's lots of trails, there's lots of habitat for animals, and there's 2 watersheds. It contributes to the Braintree watershed and the Great Weymouth Pond watershed. So it's a real special piece, and some developers have wanted to build on it, and the town's been wanting to sell it. So we're just trying to keep it the way it's always been for the next generation.
And you just told me this has been going on for 15 years.
Even longer, we
Even
believe,
longer.
but I've been involved for 15 years
You've
in
been
the
involved in
forest,
this.
yeah.
Fighting for the Holbrook Town Forest.
That's right, yeah.
And how do you feel it's going?
So far, we haven't lost too many trees, so I guess it's going good, but it could be going better. You know, more people could be involved. We've seen a lot of people reaching out to us, wanting to help, wanting to put out signs, wanting to contact the people at Town Hall. But it's about money, so we don't want to see it fall.
What would you say is really the key to doing something like this for people out there that are fighting for their forests?
I think the key is to tune in with your group, the other people in the group, and see what's important to them. And I was surprised at how many people had such a great passion for the forest, because they all have different reasons for being involved. Some of them remember growing up and hiking, and that's why it's important to them. Some of them knew their grandparents were out there. Some of them like to fish. So people have all different reasons for wanting to be involved. So I think tuning into those people is a big key. And I think also just do it. Just get out there, hold signs, make phone calls to Town Hall, to your legislatures. Just do whatever you need to do. The work will present itself.
Right, and if we drill down to real local for you guys, what is the future? What do you feel like is right around the corner as far as what you can do to save this forest?
Well, we're hoping to get the forest surveyed properly and get some legislation through Town Hall, or through town meeting, so we can make the next step and hopefully make it Chapter 97, which in Massachusetts gives it a bigger level of protection.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know if you have any other thoughts that you might add at this point. You know, something that you think is important for the audience to know.
Don't give up. You know, just keep going, keep talking to people, reach your hand out, introduce yourself, say, you know, this is what it's about, this is what we're trying to do, and this is why. And making those connections with people makes all the difference.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, the Holbrook Town Forest is a real special place. It's a peaceful place, and it's an important place. And I want to thank you, Patricia, for making a sound for the forest.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dan.
Thank you, Patricia. We have another video and another guardian, and the research he's doing is part of our next story.
This right here is the Garden of the Gods.
Today we are going to meet a man who will not shy away from the controversy over whether this forest should be saved or not.
This is a survey map back in the 60s.
In fact, he has spent many hours researching deeds and land grants, and he has uncovered some interesting evidence.
I mean, the mere fact that it's going to be going up for auction, since it had been used for 60 years for public and open use.
The end result is that Ed O'Keefe believes that this forest should stay in the public domain as property of the people, the wildlife, and all the ecologically important systems that maintain all life for a sustainable Earth.
It's untouched, undeveloped woodlands that is a natural architecture that can't be done over by an engineer. You can't reproduce this. Yeah. This here brings me into a state of peace, me, my dogs. It's a very personal place where I really unwind, and it's a certain type of privacy that I come into with myself.
You know, it's really great to have places like this, but will they always be here? As you will see in the graphic coming up, the land has been divided up into parcels. You can see that rectangle in the middle of your screen there. That's the 32 acres. And in the heart of that 32 acres is the Garden of the Gods, Moccasin Valley, and wetlands. You can see a lot of the stuff that's going around there, all those parcels. Ed O'Keefe is with us today. Hello, Ed. How you doing?
Hi, Dan. How's it going?
It's going great. You know, Ed, I know you've been going to the Registry of Deeds and doing a lot of research to try to save the forest. Can you tell me a little bit about where your research has gone?
Well, the research has gone, I traced back deeds from current owners, and I'd go back to the names on the deeds, and first of all, I was going to the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds, and I uncovered several deeds. A measurement of the 32 before that was of 24 acres on the deed. It's even hard to say what the actual measurement of the actual parcel is. We call it the 32. It needs a thorough survey and partial survey by the Norfolk County, as they had done a survey on the other part of the town forest. We call it the town forest, the 32.
Do you know if who owned that property?
Actually, it was actually owned by an old company years ago called Prosperity Development Corporation, and they had owned it. And at one time they had owned it, they had it surveyed, and they had marked that area of the parcel as owners unknown, which is very, very, very ironic.
Can you tell me a little bit about why the 32 is up for sale? Does the town own the land?
The town has taken the land into tax title from another former owner of the land that had purchased it from another person after Prosperity Development Corporation, and they really weren't paying taxes, so the town took it in tax taking.
Okay, do you have any idea why the town would want to take this heart of the town forest and sell it for development?
Stakeholders, just, no particular names or anything. It's just people involved, and there's a lot of people that are involved in different businesses in town, different people, and it's just pretty much an on-spec type thing. Just develop it out, and and people are going to move there, and big condominiums.
Right. Yeah. As I understood it, there was like a 5-story building. Something, I don't know if
yes.
I don't have all my facts, but I was told that it was like 400 units.
Recently, Holbrook has approved 5-story zoning for that particular area. of the, near the 32 parcel on existing land that abuts the 32 that a particular developer already owns.
And these are like $500,000 condos or something? Is there
Easily. It's 55 plus active. That's the zoning.
Yeah.
And we had gone before planning, and we had even discussed ladder safety if it was going to be senior citizens being afraid to go down these big ladders. And they said, oh, no, it's not really that big of a thing, as much. And it just got instant approval. It's very high area, the topography.
Yeah, so you build up there, and you're going to see Boston, and all that. The views and so it's a really marketable thing. I mean, probably be able to sell these condos, but the problem is
it's debatable.
Yeah. But the idea is that building in a forest is a very marketable thing, as opposed to, say, building at the Stop and Shop property in town where the land has already been developed, so why not take the development to a place that's already been.
Yeah, it's a resort-style development they want to do. They actually want to have a restaurant on site and maybe even tennis courts and stuff like that. Yeah. There's all types of ideas that have been gone through and discussed, and it's also been discussed that they want to do a Cape Cod-style land development. It's referred to as a Cape Cod style community.
Well, my last question for you, Ed, is. I know that you've been doing all this research because you have a passion for the forest. You want to save the forest. Do you have any personal feelings about, why you're doing this?
Well, there's a lot of things in the forest that can't, speak for themselves. Animals that live there, their habitat, where they live, their homes. We're visitors when we go out there. That's their home. Water. It happens to connect to part of our water supply filtration system, the Creamery area, and it also goes down as the wetland system into the Great Pond through the Weymouth Conservation land that comes right down through the developer's land and from the 32 and the forest.
Well, Ed, I know you've been working to keep this forest public, and I want to thank you for all the research and the hard work that you've been doing on behalf of this forest, making a sound for the forest. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Dan.
All right. Besides the natural beauty, the pristine water, the area of critical concern for wildlife and ecosystems, the Holbrook Town Forest is also a place for families, where memories are created that last a lifetime, passed down from generation to generation. Let's meet our third guardian.
Robbie Mankis walks the Holbrook Town Forest, but she's not alone. She has lots of memories here to keep her company.
I can remember sitting on a rock just thinking that was the best thing in the world, that we're out here in the woods and we're having baked potatoes.
Robbie's memories come alive as she talks about her dad, Robert Tisdale, a man who was one of the reasons this forest became a town forest. And as we sit at the memorial commemorating her father's accomplishments, Robbie thinks back.
He used to like to play a game with me. We would sit and listen and try to identify what we were hearing. And it was a blast. It was a blast.
This is a wild place where the wildlife lives. And that is another reason Robbie is out here. She wants to protect her father's legacy because there's so little forest left as it continues to be nibbled away by development.
We don't have enough forest. We don't have enough forest in this town. When I was growing up, I was born and raised here, and there was huge forests everywhere. This just happened to be the town forest. But we had places everywhere that we could go, and there was beauty everywhere.
Robbie is a nurse. She helps people for a living. But when she goes to unwind and get away from the hectic pace, she comes here to the Holbrook Town Forest. But lately, it's raised her blood pressure.
This can't be replaced. We can't take a piece of this and then in 4 years say, oh, you know what? You guys were right. We shouldn't have taken it. Have it back. You can't touch this.
You know, I was impressed at what Robbie said. When she was a kid, there were forests everywhere. Because I can remember when I was growing up in East Hartford, Connecticut, my backyard, I'd go out to my backyard and there would be woods, and I could travel in the woods all day long. I pretended I was an explorer, and it was really great. We've been talking about the Holbrook Town Forest, and here's a way to get involved. They have a Facebook page, facebook.com/groups/Save the 32 Acres, facebook.com/Holbrook Town Forest, and they have a website, savethe32.com. The loss of our forests and natural places is happening all over this country and throughout the world. A few local places I can think of are Plimpton, Massachusetts, Hingham, and Rattlesnake Hill and Sharon, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. We've met some of the guardians, and we've seen some of their videos. Coming soon, we're going to have a promo, and it's called The Guardians. Let's take a look at that promo now.
Well, it's about this. It's about the trees. It's about the animals that live here.
I want to thank Patricia and Ed. Thank you guys for coming on the show and for talking about Save the 32 and how people can save their own forests. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
We're doing this show at the Abington Cam Studio. If you'd like to get involved in television production, produce a show, or work on a show, please visit the website at abingtoncam.org or email Justin at justin@abingtoncam.org or call the studio at 781-616-2950.
The facilities and equipment are provided by Abington Community Access and Media Incorporated in association with the Abington Public Schools. The studio is located at 201 Glenowitz Way in Abington, Massachusetts. And now it's time for me to thank my crew. I want to say that, without the crew, we wouldn't be here. So I want to thank Justin Shanahan, Chris Burgess, Billy Davis, Tracy Crean, Aaron Connor, Kathy Welch, and Marilyn Brillman. Thank you, guys.
This show was produced by e-awakening.com. You can contact us at eawakening@gmail.com. That's without a dash. eawakening@gmail.com.
Through the power of television, we have been instantaneously transported to my home recording studio. I'm Dan Brillman of e-awakening.com, and we just produced our very first episode of Playing Guitar, Writing Songs, and our first episode was about saving forests. The Holbrook Town Forest was our focus, but any forest, your town's green space, any land that needs protection, is where you will find environmental heroes. My partner Marilyn and I created the website e-awakening.com, where we shine a spotlight on people who are caring for the earth. We had a great crew. They're friends of ours, and they work regular jobs. And some of them have never worked on a TV show before. I'd like to close this show with another song that I wrote for Saving the Forests. It uses pretty much the same chords as the first song, but it really shows you what a different song you can make using 3 chords. This song is dedicated to guardians everywhere. In the forest, trees grow wild and free, along with the plants in a natural nursery. Wildflowers feed the birds and bees. In a garden of Eden, it's a spiritual symphony. Can you imagine
destroying this? It's funny how money can drive some insane. That's why we have to stand up, become the guardians for the earth. We care for the earth.
There's a new show being produced at Abington Cam. Playing guitar, writing songs, and is coming. A serious look at the environment and how music plays a powerful role in video communications and stories. It's about saving the earth. Produced by e-awakening.com.
Playing guitar, writing songs, and what's that story about? What's that song about?